Good morning. I just drooled on myself live on camera. Great. Oh, the things that happen on this show. It's cold out. It was 35 when I woke up at 5:45. So I'm guessing. I'm guessing we got pretty close to a frost. I do not see one out there, but it looks like it wanted to. Looks like it was on the edge. All right. So here we go. 3, 2. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. Is that right? Yes. My name is Jerry, and this is my first cup of coffee. Oh, that's tasty. The raccoons didn't come back last night. I set up everything. I set up camera gear. I set up warm clothes, and I had a whole plan laid out of how I was going to do this. It didn't show, or at least I didn't wake up. I'm pretty sure that I would have woken up because that noise is just. There were a couple noises I heard that instantly snapped me out of sleep. Brought me into fight or flight mode. Like I'm gonna fight a raccoon. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's because it was too cold. There are definitely still grapes on the vines, but maybe they've moved on, and I'm okay with that. I would like a picture, but I'm okay with that. Well, I hope you had a good Monday. I had a pretty solid Monday. Went to Taekwondo last night for the first time in months. Oh, it was so nice to be in class. Class was small, but the biggest it's been, according to the instructor. And there were some new kids, and I got to work with the kids, and I just had a lot of fun. I'm really glad I went. Got rid of all the stuff I didn't need anymore at the thrift store. I was gonna have a yard sale this spring, and then coronavirus. And so I've been looking at these piles in my garage thinking, well, maybe after saying, you know what? I want the space more than I want the stuff. I want the space more than I want the weekend of work to make $300. So I donated it. And I feel good about that. I have plenty of room in my garage now, which is awesome. What else happened yesterday? Client stuff. Got a bunch of work done. You know, that's like the third or fourth Monday in a row that I've been really productive. And here's what I think's making the difference. I'm being more honest with myself about my productivity level, about what I can get done. So historically, I just have a ton of things set up on a Monday. You know, could be 12 or 14 hours of work. Obviously, I'm not going to get that much work done. I peter out. I can't keep going for that long. But what I've been doing of late, when I sit down in the morning, sometimes even the night before, I plan my day. Here are the things that have to get done. Here's how long I think those will take. We lay out those things. And if I get it done faster, depending on how I feel, I might take a task from the next day and move it to today, work on it. But most of the time I just call it a day. Sometimes that's at 3, sometimes that's at 6. Doesn't really matter. The work got done. And then sometimes, like yesterday, there were a couple things that just emotionally I couldn't wrap my brain around. So I moved them to another day. If I do that long enough with a task, if there's something that I find, for weeks I can't do, I either give it to somebody on the team or I just don't do it. Not everything has to get done. Just because I have an idea of something that's good to get done doesn't mean it needs to get done. Most of what needs to happen happens. I don't need to worry about it. Why is coffee so good? Brought in a bunch of plants. I've got avocado. Well, here, I'll show you. Palm, rubber tree, avocado. Also, that's my TV. Got other plants around. Looks like next week I'll have to bring in everything else so it doesn't freeze. But we're getting there. It's definitely getting to be fall. I mean, somehow it's on the calendar still as summer. Stacy says coffee is good, especially on a chilly morning. I agree. I completely agree. What else? What else is happening? Gabe says, you can grow avocados? I'm jealous. I mean, they're never gonna, I don't think they're ever gonna produce fruit, but I can grow the pits into a tree, yeah. That one there, my mom did for me because I couldn't get them to grow. And so she, without my knowing, grew one and then gifted it to me. I've grown a few more. I lost one this summer. Chipmunk ate it. I had just put it in a pot and it dug it out and ate. Not the part of the pit you would expect, not like that, the nut, but the tree, the little tree growing, which really frustrated me. So he was really located. I've got one that was outside this summer that I didn't realize the pot didn't have holes in the bottom and the roots rotted. So that one died. And I've got another one that I just potted yesterday. And I've given away a few. It's not that hard. Take a glass, like I use a rocks glass. I have a chipped rocks glass. Fill it almost full with water, and then use toothpicks or push pins or corn cob holders, and stick them in the side so the avocado pit is half into the water with the pointy side up, and leave it there for months. Literally, it's months for it to do that, and change out the water, so it doesn't stink every couple weeks. The water's got to stay right around that level. If the pit dries out, it's not gonna sprout. And then once you got a root coming out the bottom, you put it in dirt. That's it. Stacy's asking, are they pretty as they grow? It's a neat plant. The one over here, I mean, everything got sun scald when I put them out because I didn't know about sun scald. I just assumed, oh, bright sunny day, let's put the plants out, and they burned. So they're not looking good right now, but the new growth coming on looks pretty good. They're green leaves. It's like any tree. I've been using the hydroponic system. You can hear it draining. I've got a solution for that. I've got some small parts I've got to buy. But that thing keeps getting upgrades because I think it's really going to be something worth having. I added some supplemental light that I found in the pile of stuff I was going to get rid of. So that's on there. And I've been using it for a combination of testing growing a bunch of different indoor greens, because greens are generally the easiest thing to grow inside. And I've got acorns and a bunch of other stuff I'm trying to root or sprout. If I had an avocado pit small enough, I could put one in there and just see what it's good for. So loud. It's because the pump brings the water up to the top level, and then when the pump shuts off, that water drains back, and that's what creates that noise. So. Plants are fun. By the time all the plants are back in, this place looks a little bit like a jungle. I'm going to give away a bunch of them. I've already decided that. So. All right, what's happening today? I've got an interview later on today. Well, I'm gonna check my calendar right now. What's going on? I think I have my calendar on this one. Excuse me. There it is. Bunch of random stuff. Client meeting, podcast interview, and then the rest is just work. Just chipping away on work. So, yeah. So I could potentially be done by mid-afternoon if I am focused and productive, which lately has been easier for me, which is nice. I went to bed late because this is one of the challenges with going to Taekwondo. By the time I leave Taekwondo, it's generally 8:30. And then by the time I get home and get in the door, it's 9 to 9:15. Make dinner because I hadn't eaten anything since 3. So I'm going to bed at 10, 10:30. And that's late for me. I don't like going to bed that late. I may not do it, especially for something worthwhile. But it means I wake up tired. All right, let's see what y'all wrote in. What kind of questions and comments we got. And I like the variety. I like when more of you chip in. So, looks like we got stuff from Frank. Thanks, Frank. As always, thank you, Frank. Frank, the producer. I want to give him a more fun title. Frank, the super producer. I don't know. Yeah, just drop your questions or comments in the comment section below, and I'll respond to more. Oh, this is a good one. First quote. Shortcuts make long delays. J.R.R. Tolkien. Shortcuts make long delays. Here's where I see this the most in business. And of course we see it in martial arts. We see people looking to create this ultimate martial arts system. I'm going to take this and that and this and this and this. And that's a great mental exercise. I love that. In fact, I've even encouraged others to do that for various things. If you developed your own style, what would it look like? It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to go through to develop that. It teaches you a lot about yourself and what you value in training. But there's no shortcut to training, just as there's no shortcut in business. Well, if I do this and that and this and that, then I'll make $1 million by the end of the year. When you go out on the internet and you're looking at all these business success stories, and you see people who hit it big with some product or service, they made a lot of money really fast. There are a few things that they're not telling you. I would say it's 3 categories of people. 1, they did a whole bunch of work beforehand that they're not counting in that time. So for example, whistlekick and my consulting work, the only reason they are where they are is because of the 15 years of running an IT company I had. My consulting that I'm doing now, which if you take a look at, is doing really well and growing really fast. If I had just started that with no prior experience and didn't have any connections or people, if I just moved to a new place and started doing that, it wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is. I'm building on what I had, just as we do in our training. Case number 2. The person is lying. They're just falsifying their numbers or their timetable. There was an example I was reading about this. There's a Instagram personality, a man named Dan Bilzerian, who owns a small, well, compared to any of my businesses, large, but in the grand scheme, a relatively small marijuana company, I believe. And he is one of the most followed people on Instagram. I mean, like tens of millions, hundreds of millions. And he's constantly posting these photos of him on these yachts with all these beautiful women and just all this crazy travel and everything. And come to find out, his company's doing like $1.5 million in revenue, and he's been funding this lavish lifestyle with investors' money. So here's somebody who was probably able to consult at hundreds of dollars an hour, but didn't actually know what he was doing. Third case. There are people who hit it big, out of the park, day one. They're lucky. If you do something enough times, one of those times might work. If 100 people are trying this process and one of them gets it right, it doesn't necessarily mean that person was better. They may just have been luckier. They may have picked the right thing or the right time or had the right connection or. But to that person, they've been successful 100% of the time, so they must know what they're doing. Maybe. But you got to be careful of that. Shortcuts make for long delays. Just work hard. Just put in the time. Life is inherently risky. There's only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. Denis Waitley. I find the concept of doing nothing really interesting because it's what a lot of people would do. People are so afraid of making the wrong choice, they will make no choice. When the irony is, even the wrong choice will get you further than no choice, most of the time. Of course, we could come up with counterexamples, but let's say you're trying to, let's say it has to do with training. I'm not sure who the best instructor for me would be. I'm not sure what the best style would be. I'm not sure where I would fit in the best. So I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to constantly research and survey and ask people and not train. Okay, that's one way to do it. But 6 months later, you're still at zero, and even the worst martial arts school would have moved that needle forward for you, that ball forward. You'd be somewhere. You'd know something. And then from there, you can determine, hey, this works for me, or this doesn't work for me. Oh, I missed Gabe's comment on avocados. Yep, we do that. We just don't live in the right climate for them. Yeah. I would love to have an avocado tree in the backyard. That'd be fun. There's a place is the guy in Canada? There's somebody in, I believe it's Canada, who built literally a dome over his house. And it has all these tropical and semi-tropical plants year round. I think it's geothermal heating it. You can probably find it pretty easy. I don't think there are too many people doing this. Really, really cool. I would love to do that. I would love to live in some kind of a biodomish green space. I think that'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. Well, where are you going? Should leave it. What's even the longest journey starts with a single step? If you want to get somewhere, you have to start. There is rarely a wrong way to start. It's the time when the expectations are lowest. Just start. Just figure something out. Whether you learn something by getting it right or getting it wrong, you've still learned something. It's still valuable. We're constantly bombarded by these messages of people getting it right, of these supposedly successful, masterful martial artists, business people, celebrities. And what we forget is that that's a sanitized version of life. I think I'm pretty honest with you about the successes and failures that I go through, but I'm not completely honest. I don't tell you all the horrible things. I don't tell you the sad things, the depressing things. I don't tell you when a client fires me. That happened yesterday. I'm not going to fill this time with that because I don't want... The last thing I want this show to be is sad and depressing, because then you're not going to tune in. Hey, tune into First Cup with Jeremy drinking a cup of coffee and making you feel bad about life. That's not a good pitch for a show. And the more we take what people are putting out there to heart, the more it looks like we're dog because they've got all this success and we don't. Fortunately, the world's starting to turn because we're realizing how unhealthy that is. Just start. Just do something. What was the quote? There's only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. If you want to get anywhere, you got to do something. Last quote for the day. The hardest thing to learn in life is which bridge to cross and which bridge to burn. That's powerful. That's really powerful. Which bridge to burn? I try not to burn bridges. But when people burn them on me, it's fine. It teaches me a lot. And so here's another quote, and Frank did a great job of lining these up today. Thank you, Frank. Figuring out what not to do. We need to value that more. We need to value failure. And I don't like that word. If you know me, you know I don't like that word. We need to value mistakes and missteps as much, if not more, as successes. Why? If you learn, if you get something right, you have learned a way to do it, but you don't know if there's a better way or not. Is there? So you continue to experiment. You have to do that way again and other ways. But when you do something wrong, when you find a way that does not work, you can cross it off and say, I never have to do it this way again. That's pretty solid. That's hard and fast information that you can lean on. And the more you experiment, the more you have those missteps and cross things off the list, the more you can look at what's left and say, this is the good stuff. And whether you realize it or not, that's human nature. That's how we do everything. We learn what not to do. Hopefully. Not all of us are good at that. Yeah. So what am I not going to do today? I'm not going to judge myself harshly for not getting everything on my calendar done if I don't. I'm not going to stress. I'm just going to do. I'm going to get started. I'm going to get work done. I'm going to chip away at my list and try to move the ball forward, because that's what we do. Can I help you? I'm almost done. So, we're going to call it there. Remember, you can get a mug, you can support us, whatever. Patreon.com/whistlekick, whistlekick.com. First Cup 15 for the code. Got other stuff over there too. I appreciate everybody who contributes in whatever way. The support means a lot. Lots of ways to support us. I'll take any of them. You can send cat food. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to get started on my day. I hope you have a great day. I hope you take some of these things that we talked about today to heart, and I hope I will see you back here tomorrow, and I hope you will leave a question or a comment for me in the comment section below after I end the show. 6:30 a.m. Eastern, U.S. time, Monday through Friday. Take care, everybody.